It's no surprise that a team like the Giants went out there and spent this money. But what's more of a surprise is how they were able to get both Blake Snell and Matt Chapman for what they were able to get them for.
Yeah.
Jesse, is Scott Boras washed?
I think he
him?
might be. I think he might be.
Did he lose his magical hat or whatever the hell he uses to have power over people?
Yeah, if we look at this, we have a tweet about that does make the claim that Scott Boras is washed. This is from Addison on Twitter. Cody Bellinger, it says, wanted 200 plus million and got 80 million. Matt Chapman wanted 150 million and got 54 million. Blake Snell wanted 270 million and got 62 million. The tweet concludes with the word washed and a picture of Scott Boras.
I mean, what else do you say to that?
Yeah.
I think this is a necessary thing that needed to happen. I think teams needed to tell Scott Boras no to these outrageous contracts. I think he needed to be taken down a peg, right? I mean,
Sure.
Of course, there's a vested interest for us as Arizona Diamondbacks fans for Scott Boras to in fact be watched, and that's because we would like to get Zach Gallen on a $52 million 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option at $17 million. That's what we would like. Can we get that? Oh, man. And he absolutely does look like a Bond villain donkey. You're right. I did want to take a moment just to address our known baseball GM, Elise. Happy birthday, Elise.
Yes.
Very good to have you here on your birthday. You blessing us with your presence. We appreciate it. We know you have a lot of trades, free agency stuff you're working on as a known baseball GM, so we appreciate that. And Michael's asking if I'm drinking a beer. Well, even though Elise is a Pisces and I'm an Aries, we still celebrate our birthdays this week together because mine's on Sunday.
So this is your birthday week,
This
right?
is my birthday week. So what I decided, Jesse, is since I got so drunk at Gerald's wedding that I'm just going to keep drinking.
Okay.
Like I'm just not going to stop drinking the whole week. I feel like once I stop drinking, that's when something terrible is probably like some hangover or something is going to catch up to me. But if I keep the party going, hopefully that'll work out. Scott Boras, by the way, he's taking a lot of L's. He's getting hit on Twitter quite a bit. Our guys over at Cespedes Family Barbecue had this absolute classic of a tweet, and that was you got it, Damon?
Is it the Farhan tweet?
It is the tweet about the golden sombrero.
Do we have the tweet about the golden sombrero? We can read it too.
No, that's fine.
I think they're just labeled weird, and I didn't make them.
Oh, okay.
It's actually labeled Jordan Montgomery.
It's Jacob's
That would have been
fault.
very helpful.
Oh, it's Jacob's fault. Yeah, this is Jacob's fault. We'll go ahead and
Why
and
would you
blame
guys
Jacob.
not say that it said Jordan Montgomery in it?
I don't, because it's
That's not Jordan
for-
Montgomery is not really like
what it's about. It's Boris's one, Jordan Montgomery, 2 years, $52 million with an opt-out away from an off-season golden sombrero.
which is that's just facts, Derek. That's just
Absolutely
facts at
is
this point.
facts.
I mean, the contracts that we just discussed with Matt Chapman and Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger. Right, Bellinger was 80 million, Chapman 54, Snell 62. Yeah, if Jordan Montgomery does sign a contract that has a similar format, it is going to be another L for Scott Boras. It is going to be another strikeout for Scott Boras, if you will. And 4 strikeouts, as we all know, does make golden sombrero. So, yeah, I think Scott Boras it's been pretty clear for weeks now, and this deal just continues the narrative that Scott Boras overplayed his hand this offseason and did not read the market well. I think in situations where the biggest spenders around the league are not very active, Scott Boras struggles a little bit, right? The Rangers aren't spending a ton of money. They're not sure about their RSN situation. The Yankees apparently made an offer to Blake Snell in the $150 million range a while back, but they were not willing to do this deal, apparently. We heard about the Astros being interested as well. There were other teams certainly at play here, but a lot of the top spenders in the market, the Mets are another one, we're not willing to go to the 9 years, $270 million. Or I believe that was the initial ask from Boras for Snell. So it's been a rough offseason for Scott Boras. There's no way around that. I think we all understand that. He didn't read this market well. He tried to wait and hope that teams would get desperate enough to just pay the prices that he was asking. And that did not happen. And Scott Boras is never going to come out publicly and say that he took these L's. He's never going to admit it. He's going to spin it as positively for him as he can, but the reality is that he has taken 3 pretty clear L's so far this offseason.
Farhan Zaidi, it's the GM of the Giants.
Yeah, I think he's the president of baseball,
operations.
Yeah.
Played his cards pretty well here, because there's a tweet from Bob Nightingale, and that's the one Damon was referencing. Bob Nightingale goes on. Something changed over that time, because I feel like maybe with the investments that they've made, that they were probably done after Matt Chapman, but then you find out you're not that far out of the market for someone like Snell. And again, when you take a look at this NL West, what the Giants had done prior to adding Snell was not enough to keep up with the Dodgers. It was not enough to keep up with the Diamondbacks, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Farhan Zaidi, like, props to him, man. He's a good man. He's dealt with Scott Boras before. He knows how these situations play out.
I'm familiar with your game, sir.
He is familiar with Scott Boras's game, and if you're interested in a Scott Boras client, the last thing you do is you go out publicly and you say, we would really like to add X.
Right.
You don't do that. You go out and you say, we like what we have in house. We've maintained the whole off season.
Yes.
We just wanted to open the door for our young players. And
meanwhile, you add Jordan Hicks, Robbie Ray, Jorge Soler, Young Hoo Lee, Matt Chapman, and Blake Snell.
Yeah,
that right there is like a fairly formidable team that you could put other players around and not spend that much on the rest of the team and probably have a decent team. Like, I'm not saying that's a contender, but just with those guys that they added this offseason makes a team a pretty good team.